Hello everyone. It has come to my attention that aliens are now revealed by your government. Meaning I have clearance to tell you we have been here a lot longer than you thought we were. We have always been here, influencing your development, probing your citizens to figure out how you tick.
Sorry, creepy side came out there for a second. Let me just, doop-a-doop-a-doo. Hold on. There we go. That's a lot better. Hello, everyone. How are you all doing? If you couldn't tell, I am not a, real alien. Shocker, I know. So, yeah. What are my opinions on aliens? Because I clearly have some sort of affinity towards them if I'm making my skin look like this and naming my channel after aliens. So, yeah, what do I believe about them? What do I think they're here? Do I think that they have... do I believe ancient aliens? Do I believe in abduction theories? And sightings and witnesses? Do I think the non-human biologics that are being declassified, kinda, do I believe they're aliens? Well, short answer, I do believe in aliens. However, there's a caveat. I don't think they've visited people yet. Because if they have visited Earth, I feel like you'd have a hard time hiding that, like a real hard time. Sure, there are some incidents, like the San Francisco one, and which other ones am I thinking? And like, you know, the Navy dash cam stuff, that clearly, you know, there are aircraft we can't identify. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're from space. It's far more likely that they're just some weird government testing thing from either the US or China or Russia. Just one of those countries, or maybe a country you won't expect because they've just been hiding their technological progress so much. Like maybe Germany's been secretly hiding something in their basement since whenever. Or, I don't know, maybe Costa Rica just so happens to have a UFO testing program. And they just so happen to know how to travel fast and light and, like, zip around without propulsion. I don't know. I'm not in the loop with those sort of things. I just have heard sightings. And so, I want to talk about a few sightings, because I find them interesting. Even if I don't 100% believe them. And what I want to start with happened in my home state. It is the Betty and Barney Hill abduction. Otherwise, I think it's known as like the Lincoln incident or something. Because basically, they were on their way from Montreal to Portsmouth. And they were... I don't know what they were doing up in Montreal, but... sometimes you just take... oh yeah, wait, I remember now. Honeymoon. Sorry, I did research this. I have a sticky note here with all the Betty and Barney Hill stuff that I want to talk about. I just left that part out for some reason. Yeah, so they were on their way back from their honeymoon. And that's when they decided... well, they didn't decide to do anything. The aliens decided to do something. If they were aliens. We'll get to that in a minute. So, basically, there was a light that started following them. Up in the sky. Not one of the stars. A big, a bigger light than that. And it got closer and closer until apparently it landed on their car. I I mean, the first thing that I have to think about that is how much can their car's roof take? That is a strong car. So, okay, but let's just say they have some kind of weird gravity-altering technology. After all, if they're spacefaring, I'm sure they don't want to be floating around the entire time, right? So they get abducted, they get probed, needles and skin pulling and trimming toenails, just stuff that, like, I mean, especially the needle stuff that they mentioned, just kind of, I do not do well with needles, and I did not do well imagining that. So, yeah, they did all those tests on him. I guess one of the aliens wanted to give him a book, but then they went back on that because they decided that was a bad idea, and then wiped their memory, and they ended up miles away, and with no memory of where they were. But they started having weird dreams, or at least I think Betty started having weird dreams. I don't think Barney did. And they went to see a psychologist who did hypnotherapy on them, which is a real thing. It can help with some stuff, like if you have a smoking addiction, it can help to get to the root of that and kind of stop it. Or if you have some other just kind of innate problem with you that you just need to fix. And I think it can also help with memory reacquisition after like a traumatic event or something of the like. But yeah, they did hypnotherapy. And they came back with the story of being abducted and probed and needled and all that, and having bits of them taken to test. And, well, they kind of didn't get a choice to bring out the story. Someone did for them, so they decided to go public. Or at least from what I've read. And when they went public, you know, kind of, at the time, everyone was kind of like, oh, the aliens are friendly, they're here to just visit us. And after this, it was like, oh no, what do they want with us? Are they listening into my conversation right now? Oh no, oh no, oh no. And yeah, so it did change perception quite a bit, especially since this was a long time ago. It was back in the 60s, 1961, I believe. One problem with this whole encounter, though, it maps onto the plot of a TV show of the time. There was an episode from the show Outer Limits that pretty much perfectly matches the encounter they were talking about. And I don't want to be too harsh, but I think the hypnotherapy may have pulled out other memories that were not theirs. But they went along with it, and they're both passed away now, so there's no more interviewing or anything. I don't know if, I seem to remember they took a polygraph, but I can't remember how it went. Did they take a polygraph? Oh, well, I shouldn't Google in the middle of recording. But, nah, I'm gonna do it. Okay, I can't find anything about a polygraph. I don't know if they took one. Maybe that was another sighting, because, like, I was listening to a bunch of those videos that are kind of like, oh, yeah, and that are kind of just like, oh, and this sighting happened here, and this one happened here, and this one happened here. And kind of just giving the facts of the situation, not giving much of an opinion, but kind of giving a little bit of both sides with a little bit of an emphasis on the being real part. Because, you know, these people who are posting it, they want to believe it. They want to believe that the aliens are there, because that's just more interesting than the world we live in. I've actually been to a gas station that was selling merchandise based on this story. Like, they had alien plushies and inflatables and stuff, and t-shirts and hats. Yeah, it's up north in the White Mountains. I think I saw it while we were going skiing at one point. Maybe next time we'll get something. I don't know. I got plenty of alien memorabilia. as you can probably tell by my skin. Sorry, I had to take a little break. And while I was taking a little break, I was eating my dinner, and I watched part of the Senate hearings. I've only seen the clip, but they were like, well, there are non-human biologics, yes. And now I'm watching part of the full thing about 20 minutes in, during time I was eating dinner. Something I just gotta wonder about. What if this is all just a ploy? Like, what if they have seen just how divided we are, and are like, oh, well, what unifies a people? Hating another people. But they didn't want to do it to any particular one here, because that would just divide us more. They want to unite us. So, they just made up some other people. Like, what if they just did that? That is a stupid theory, and take that with a massive grain of salt, because I have absolutely no experience in any field that would be considered even remotely relevant to this. I'm an ecologist. Yeah. Anyway, back to discussing other things about my opinions. What do I think the non-human biologics are if they are not human? Or if I don't believe aliens have visited? Well, as you've probably seen recently, gene editing's become pretty advanced. Like, you could edit a lot of things. Perhaps it's some kind of human hybrid that can take higher G-forces. Or maybe, maybe they're transporting some other creature that they've kind of edited to be like human intelligence enough to pilot the craft. Because extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, and while, genetic modification to that extent would be a pretty big leap and would require a quite large amount of extraordinary evidence, it's less extraordinary than aliens. Because we don't even know if aliens are real. They probably exist. It wouldn't make much sense if they didn't. But we don't have evidence of any of them existing. Even on systems close to us. Especially on systems close to us. And Mars is uninhabitable. Venus, also uninhabitable. Perhaps one of Jupiter or Saturn's moons could harbor something. And perhaps that something would develop a completely different technological everything from us, because they're all underwater. Like, the theory about the, Jupiter and Saturn moons is basically you've got two types. You got the one that's a frozen ocean that has very limited light at the top, and then just nothing, it's all dark. And it relies on geothermal instead of solar energy. There's also the idea of, I believe it's Titan, was it? That has methane oceans instead of water oceans. I don't know if that could develop something, but there are ideas that life could exist on those moons. So perhaps it's something from there. But once again, no evidence. We just know there is water there. We don't know if life developed. And then that would be a pretty big stretch to say that, maybe they developed propulsion at all. Because that would also require metalworking. And metalworking is something that can only be done on land, as far as I'm aware. Because you require fire, like the one you have in front of me. You can have that fire underwater. Or at least it wouldn't naturally develop. You'd have to have someone come in with the design already ready for it. like, hey, what if you did this? And you could create this stuff with it. Which, you know, maybe aliens interfered with one of those moons, and now those moons are interfering with us. That would be a funny little thing, right? But yeah, I don't think that the non-human biologics in that case are aliens. One more thing I probably should mention is that my grandfather has a video of a supposed UFO. This is pretty much the reason I'm making this video, because I might not have if I hadn't had a conversation with him and some other family members recently. Basically, he has a video where he saw something in the sky, and that something in the sky was a light, and I've seen the video. It was moving around in a way that wouldn't work well for any conventional aircraft of our time, because it's too fast to be a helicopter with too little noise, and it's also too little noise for a plane, as well as kind of zipping around in a way a plane couldn't. And what I think it was is a drone. But I don't know if drones have lights. Some of them probably do. It would make sense, more sense than a UFO. And he lives kind of away from a lot of people, or at least I think his neighborhood's the majority kind of older people who don't really, get technology. So I don't know if any of them would have a drone. Maybe someone's just taken it over the river or the swamp or whatever near his house. But yeah, I do have direct connection to this, kinda. So yeah, I have some ideas about this. Once again though, take everything I said in this video with a massive heap of salt, because I don't have experience in these fields. I am just someone who, pretends to be an alien and has an interest in this kind of thing, and decided, hey, let's make a video about our interest. The little fox. To be a fox, to have no idea about what lies in the cosmos above our heads. But heck, or what's below our feet. Because another possible scenario for a non-human biologic is maybe some really deep creature, some subterranean creature does have human intelligence, which that is an outlandish theory. That is outlandish, but still more likely than something from another solar system. Because that would run the assumption that life exists outside of Earth, which it probably does, but we don't have evidence of. It also relies on the assumption that technology to cross between one solar system to another is viable. It also relies on the idea that intelligent life is common, or at least if it's a rare instance, it happened right next to us. It also relies on the assumption that whatever it would be would have better technology. Of course, assuming it would have better technology than us, because it did come from another place, and that's pretty hard. We can't do that right now. I've gotten completely off topic. I don't know what I was talking about originally. I think there were other sightings I wanted to talk about. Probably relating to the ones that I built. I think I mentioned the Tic Tac, those Navy videos. And that, I think that's just some foreign government, or perhaps our own. And, the lights. Yeah, the prevalence of just bright lights. You've probably seen it. I don't know if I've synced this up to the, building montage that's playing at the top of this. But there are cases of people seeing, like, V's or U shapes of light going through the sky, which, I mean, first of all, that does make sense, because if they traveled in a V pattern, that would cut down on drag. That's why geese do it. And, you know, something that is exerting that much energy to move around so fast without visible propulsion probably would produce quite a bit of light. And one of those light balls in a V that was seen was actually by the mayor of Arizona, or not mayor, governor of Arizona, which is wild. Like, apparently he went looking to the government agencies like, what is this? And they told him, we don't know. And just kinda, you can give many answers. Which, I mean, he's just a governor of Arizona, so like, what kind of clearance would he have for that kind of thing, you know? But yeah, I find that kind of funny that... Oh, and also in the, back to the hearing that they're having, like, the government officials are saying, like, yes, I do believe in aliens, and some of the people on there apparently have sightings. Jimmy Carter had a sighting, according to them. And I just find that, like, so weird that so many of our elected officials have, like, sightings of UFO. Like, how common is it? And do I just not spend enough time outside at night to see them? I want to see a UFO. That sounds so cool. I can't even see meteor showers when they happen because my astronomy's bad. Anyway, this has been the Riot Alien who's not actually an alien. And, you know, I leave in peace. Hopefully they come in peace. Oh, wrong keyboard.